I think there's multiple pieces to it. One, kind of to what you're saying, we're, as Christians, we're called, all of us, not just people on staff, we're called as to be the stewards of Jesus' message, of God's message, of God's story of redemption. And so we're His ambassadors to deliver that message. And so we have to balance responsibility with faith in the Holy Spirit that He's going to help us, because we will fall on our face if we don't. But as those stewards, it's our role to use technology, to use things that are hip, in order to communicate and be, ultimately relevant. I think tied in with that, kind of what you're saying with the democratization of church leadership and communication. One thing with my role specifically is how do I best communicate to a church that has an average weekly attendance of 1,500 to 1,600 people. And I think, one of the frustrations with that is the church, the clergy, the people on staff have to do all that communication. We have to, we want this album of pictures online, or we want, this bulletin announcement, or, whatever. And that's impossible to do. And so, my frustration is always like, how do we get these people to take that on themselves? How do we get them to be the church in the church and communicate as needed, because we don't need to communicate everything to a large mass audience. And so I think technology serves to allow that to provide a way for that to happen. So I'm excited also. I think it's a great thing. I think it can be terrifying for some people, but I think overall it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I think, and what do I know, I'm only 23, so for me to try to prognosticate where we're at with the church is pretty stupid, but yeah. Basically, I really feel right now as the church, we are in such a transitional time where you have one generation who is been around for a long time, and you have the next generation of one that I'm a part of, and we're all like running into each other's clashing heads. And I think right now one of the biggest issues, and it all really encompasses around technology, a lot of it is we're not finding a place to meet in the middle and work together. Instead, we're trying to raise our hand if this is how we should do it. And so I think, kind of going back to that quote where I think it can be a very positive thing, is meeting together, and really starting a mentoring relationship with the generation ahead of us and the generation behind us. Because here's what I found inside of that, is when you're a part of that, not only are you learning from them, but you're also teaching them. And so what better way for someone who's 45 to come to a 25-year-old and say, hey, I want to be on Facebook because all of my kids are on there, they're going to college. Can you teach me how to do that? And then me as a 23, 25-year-old can then turn around and say, hey, I don't know how to do a budget. Can you help me with that? And so what better way to use the means of technology inside of the church, outside of the church, to meet up together and learn from each other. But the problem is that for some reason we find that the church has to be about us and not about each other at some times.
That's good. That's good. So based on my context, based on my perspective, based on who I am, if I'm someone who's been brought up at a time where stained glass, because let's be honest, what stained glass was for a generation before us is what lights are for us. So it's the same exact thing. They're both used to create space, and some would even call it sacred space, so that we may encounter and we may engage in a participatory environment, this thing that we call worship. And obviously we know that worship is a response. It's the external response to what God is internally doing inside of us. But to that generation, this would be dangerous because they feel like we're hijacking, or this younger generation is hijacking something that they have used in their technology, and something that they've used to create the same thing that we're using something else. And so, is the old way, or the old church, do they have to, this is what I'm saying, do they have to succumb to the new ways in order to be effective? Does the old need to learn from the new in order to be effective? Or even become the new in order to be effective?
Does the old need to be in community with the new?
I'm facilitating, bro.
I think yes. I think to your point, I think there's wisdom in older generations, people that are using different types of technologies or creative spaces and things. And I think there's wisdom to learn. And so I think we do need to have community with those people, and that's one of the major challenges of a church is how do you have a church for a 20-year-old and a church for an 80-year-old? How do you communicate? But I think
Should we? Should we have church that a 20-year-old and 80-year-old meet together?
I think it's a tough question. I would lean towards yes, because I think there's so much value in wisdom of older generations. I would say the best way to do that isn't to break them up into different segments of. I think you need a mixture. I think you need to be relating to people of all different ages all the time. I think that's the best way to do it. So I think we do need to be in community.
Something that I learned about like stained, even when we brought stained glass windows up, I never understood them. I actually think they're ugly looking. I don't think they're that good looking. Not until not all you 40-year-olds out there, sorry. That was a joke. Sorry. No, I didn't really understand them until I asked somebody about them, and this guy explained it to me as this. He said that stained glass windows tell a story. And that was the church's way of communicating a story. Then he went on to even say, and he went on to say some places, especially back in the day, that the education was low, and so it was a great way to show pictures. So it's like basically reading a book with pictures. And so inside of architecture, inside of stained glass windows, all that kind of stuff was a way to communicate a story. Now today, we use different things to communicate a story. We use slide projectors, we use lights, we use art, different forms of art, videos. And so it's almost the same exact thing, it's just the methods have changed. But yet somewhere that has broken down, that stained glass windows are lame because they're ugly. But really they're just trying to tell a story about God's love.
So Justin, we're in St. Charles, a suburb of St. Louis, and we've got this youth building called the Rome that these hipsters meet at. We've got all these lights, and we've got all of this media and all this technology, and we've got all this music beforehand, and it's loud and incredibly different context from the journey downtown St. Louis, who was in this Catholic, even post-Catholic, post-Christian existence and context down, and both good. Walk us through that real quick, because it's a totally different context from what it looks like here.
What it looks like?
Yes.
Well, what we're looking to do is to, help people to encounter the gospel. And so we have, there are a whole lot of pragmatic issues that come into that. And then we can get really philosophical about why we do certain things. Honestly, a lot of why we do the way we do them is because our leaders have a preference of that. And that's how it is everywhere. Always. The way that you do things, you do them because you have a preference for doing them that way. But that in mind, we take there's this buzzword in Christianity called contextualization. And it's a word loaded with a whole lot of meaning that really doesn't mean a whole lot. But what we're looking to do is we know that in South City, most of the people that are there grew up culturally Catholic. And so they're used to a more quiet, reverent worship experience. If we come in that environment with, wailing guitars and motion lights and motion backgrounds and worship leader voice, you know what I'm talking about? Where they're like, oh God, we come before you. Kind of like worship leader voice. Where they're almost crying, because they're moved, like they're actually worshiping, and that's how I'm not I'm making fun of it because that's what I do, but I don't need to. But a little bit. I want to offend you just enough. But if we do that, they're going to shut off. They're not going to hear the gospel. They're not going to be challenged. They're not going to grow closer to Jesus because we have made it uncomfortable for them for the wrong reason. We want them to be offended by the gospel and the gospel alone.
And Nicholas, because we're so connected now, global village, global connectivity, I can look at a church in Orange County, California. I can look at a church in New Spring, South Carolina, and Charlotte, North Carolina, and I can see that God is absolutely, as a bonus, they're blessing these unbelievable communities. They're 20,000 plus people, and all of a sudden we see what they're doing because we're globally connected. And all of a sudden in St. Charles, Missouri, we think that we need to do what they're doing. What's the default of that?
The pitfall is that it kind of goes off this. I believe that in every local church, we're the body of Christ, so we've got our role in the church. And my role is not the same as yours. But I also believe that the church at large is very similar to that, where even in St. Charles, the reason God placed Harvester Christian Church in St. Charles is not the same reason that He placed First Baptist Church of Harvester in St. Charles. We do similar things, but we've got two totally different kingdom goals and people that we're looking at. I don't think God gave us the exact same goal and said compete for it. I don't think He said, hey, we need to be doing what they're doing over in New Spring, South Carolina. He's got them there for a reason. There's a philosophy that says, bloom where you're planted. If you're planted in a culture, that's the culture you need to bloom in, and that's the culture you need to reach. We can't try and reach Californians from St. Charles.